This girl was raped and murdered. She was left naked in the snow. There were puncture wounds from an iron hook, and cuts with a razor blade, as if they formed some kind of symbol. What's even stranger, the girl's lower body. There were multiple bruises on the girl's lower body, but there's not a single piece of useful information. There's not a single piece of useful information left on her body. Why would such a meticulous murderer casually dump the body in such a conspicuous place? So the police immediately investigated the girl's relationships. But once they did, they found out. The difficulty in this case is that everyone looks like the murderer. The girl's name is Huang Shu. Her parents were busy with their own lives. They put him in the foster home of his own uncle, and the uncle is a scum. What Huang Shu didn't expect, he introduced him to a big boss as a secretary. Of course, the police know the meaning of secretary, so they found the boss immediately, but they found out the boss had an alibi. Could he be the murderer? While Feng was thinking, colleagues found a hook around the crime scene. They found an iron hook with pork on it, and the hook had Huang Shu's blood on it. Then the police investigated the neighborhood's surveillance. They found a suspicious white van. The owner of the van happens to be a pork seller. He said he only met Huang Shu once, and he did assault him, but as soon as he did it, he was stopped by an employee of the shop. His name is Qin Tian. He has a brother named Qin Li. Huang Shu is Qin Li's girlfriend. The boss said the van was always driven by Qin Tian. That's the clue. Feng and his men searched Qin Tian's temporary home. They found the key evidence, but during the arrest, Qin Tian resisted. Feng shot him dead on the spot. When Feng found Qin Li, he had changed from a healthy young man to a mute who couldn't speak. He knew his brother was not the murderer. He went to the market every day to buy a bullfrog. He's been doing it for 10 years, but he didn't take it home to cook. He fed a poisonous snake for a long time to avenge his girlfriend's death, because her girlfriend, Huang Shu, was assaulted 10 years ago. She was left naked in the snow. Her stomach was carved with special symbols. It took the police 2 months to catch the murderer. But after 10 years, where Huang Shu died, a new body appeared. The victim's name was Xing Yan. She worked at the same bar where Huang Shu worked. She was also raped and killed, and the same symbol was carved on her abdomen. The police had their doubts.
你说是有人在模仿作案，还是当年你抓对凶手？
Feng was the officer who handled the case back then. He thinks it's a copycat, so he found Xing Yan's boyfriend. He said he owed money to a loan shark. A boss gave him $50,000. He asked him to lure his girlfriend Xing Yan into a car, and he made it a point to say. Feng took him to the scene. Then he suddenly realized this boss was the one he thought was suspicious, but did not insist on investigating. Now the big boss has run away, and Qin Li rarely shows up. And what old Feng didn't know, after Huang Shu's case was closed, every year on Huang Shu's birthday, a bad guy would be killed. Some of them were dropped in the freezer as pork. They bled to death. Some were forced into the river in the coldest weather in the northeast. They were forced into the river. No amount of money will help. Others were tied up in the middle of the snow by a speeding car. Ever since his dad was arrested, he found out for the first time there are bad people all around him. The girl he loved suffered the same fate as he did. Qin Li used to comfort him because his uncle used him as a tool to make money. He sent him to dance at the bar. Now it's the other way round. Huang Shu smiles every time she sees him. She even volunteered to participate in cultural performances. She became the sunshine that brightened Qin Li's heart. But once, when he was dancing, he was spotted by a boss named Yinpeng. So Yinpeng's driver talked to him and lied to him that if he had dinner together, he would give him 10,000 yuan. At that time, Huang Shu was interested in a hearing aid. When Qin Li was in nursing school, Qin Li had an accident in the boiler room. He suffered serious injuries to both ears. Huang Shu wanted to earn this money, but he couldn't have imagined. Yinpeng is a total pervert. He's got a secret base underground. Before every big deal, he'd ask a young girl to go inside. For days at a time, there were cameras in the room, and some messy stuff. The girls who came out of here, no girl came out of here without tears. The same goes for Huang Shu. He was locked up for 3 days. The driver brought food inside a few times. His business partners, they all came here to talk to him. When Huang Shu was released, he dragged his bruised body. He went to a medical equipment shop. He bought a hearing aid. He went back to his depressed state. He gave the hearing aid to Qin Li. He told Qin Li exactly what had happened to him. On that day, Two hearts died at the same time. This is the recent hit short film The Coward. The world is full of sufferings. Every coward's choice affects the fate of others.